This is Abhishek Chandra, also known as ABC, and today on my channel I'm going to talk about a Model Context Protocol, also known as MCP. It's a protocol developed by Anthropic. And what is Model Context Protocol? Well, with the name itself, it's a protocol because it standardizes how AI application connects to your data sources and tools, and it does provide at the same time the context to the model. So that's why it's called Model Context Protocol. It's an open source protocol which helps you where you can use it to uh, connect your AI applications to tools and data sources, AI application be an AI agent, LLM applications. And if we have to compare it with the traditional applications development, because we are saying what it does, it's connecting AI applications to XYZ, whatever. So what were our traditional applications, like the web applications, the mobile applications? And when we were developing those mobile and web applications, we were looking into some API technologies, for example, which used to standardize how this web application will interact with our backends. Now, APIs, again, can be, they are many APIs technology. As you see, the traditional web development had a front-end UI with forms, buttons, whatever. User used to open those forms, click on submit, and at the back end, it's called some API technology. Let it be REST, GraphQL, gRPC. Well, my favorites will be AMQP, and for IoT, definitely MQTT. And those kinds of API technologies we used to have which we still have in our traditional web mobile application development, like GraphQL, more prominent for mobile, and others like that. So we used to have certain architectural style, means REST itself is not a protocol, it's just an architectural style. Underneath is it's using an HTTP as a protocol for its transport. But again, we had certain API technologies to develop those traditional web application which connects to the backend services and finally access your databases and other systems of record. So it used to happen with the form submission. It calls an API and the database gets updated. Now what with AI applications? AI applications, the inputs are in natural language. You can give a prompt, you can talk to those applications. It's in a natural language input, and it needs a certain level of LLM processing with context and relevance, which again it becomes like a rack kind of application. And at the end, then you need to do certain actions with your data source. Probably in AI application, you will be calling an agent communication protocol, which wraps MCP protocol, and which MCP protocol is responsible for calling the tools, which finally does certain actions on your data sources. For example, input to an AI application will be update ABC address to something something, what we will see. So let's take this use case. Let's see a use case with the traditional and AI application. We have to update a customer address. So in a traditional application, there was a front end forms. You go, you fill, and you submit your request. At the back end, what's happening? The REST API, the call is getting formed, the customer ID is there, and a JSON kind of request. Since it's an update, it's a put, HTTP method put is used, and it used to happen. But in AI application, what is the input? Input is update ABC address to habitat module 12B mass 2200 2200 mass. Well, this is an address in future when I will move to Mars, but AI application is also in future, and it's still coming up. And lots of these protocols, there are a lot of things coming up. That's the reason I have taken some time to create my next video. But MCP somewhere caught my attention, and I said, let's do a video on this. So what it does, like AI application, it takes your natural language as an input, and then it processes it, and then it must be making a call to the tool, and it will say you, thank you, your address is updated. Right? This is how. But there are challenges in this kind of AI application. First thing, he needs to figure out a lot of things. Who is ABC? In API, you saw there was a customer ID already in the URL. But in here, who is ABC? What field needs to be updated? To which type of address? Is he having a permissions to do this? And what's the context with the conversion history, why, and everything around him? The AI as a human replacement needs to understand all this. It just cannot make a simple REST call like your traditional web mobile application, but it needs to understand the intent. It needs to gather the context and orchestrate multiple actions. Plus, since it's an AI, maybe it needs to bring a human in loop. You are about to update, and it needs to get certain approval. So there are AI challenges to build an application which replaces this traditional application. So now, this is where MCP comes with its component. Okay, MCP at a high level has I would say, there is in an MCP server itself, there is a tool, there is a resource, there is a prompt template. Okay, now tool, I'll start with MCP and then we'll connect the dots. So tools is nothing. It's like a executable function which does some calls, like maybe a Python code or whatever, just update customer profile. Resources, it's a read-only lookups. For example, I said, who is APC? So these are the resources which will bring the customer ID of ABC, for example, and whatever is this current address and everything around all the lookups that you need. And the prompt template. Okay, these are the templates that are stored in MCP server. Now we'll start. What is host? Host is an AI application which is responsible of selecting which of the tool, which the tool we need, and finally, MCP client will invoke those tools and query the resources, interpolates the prompts. What it means, it converts the user language into a structured tool call. This is what it calls, interpolates the prompt. And the prompt template, which is like a template, which is saying fill in the blank. So MCP client is responsible to fill in the blanks and then invokes the tool, resources, query the resources, and finally gets a response back. So this is at a high level with an MCP host, client, and MCP server is happening. It's a client server architecture. We'll speak about it in the next slide. So this is at a high level. There is a tool, there is a resource, and there is a prompt template served by MCP server. MCP client has its own work to do to invoke those, invokes the tool, query, interpolates the prompt, and MCP on the other side, it will give a user, it will accept the prompts from the user, it will select the tool based on the intent and all those. So this is how the various components within the MCP works. Coming to the architecture. Okay. So in an MCP architecture, as we said, there is an AI application, which can be AI assistant, AI agent, desktop client. It uses an MCP client, which further connects to MCP server. over transport layer, where we have currently MCP supports HTTP with SSE, which is a server sent event. And lately they have also introduced streamable HTTP. And with this, it can just not be stateless, but stateful also with the streamable HTTP. So this is a transport connection where MCP and MCP server works on their request and response. Further, MCP server, which is storing the tools here, and the resources, the read-only resources, and the prompt templates to various external system like databases. You can have an MCP server for each of your databases, CRM system, ERP, and others. Okay, this is in high level of an MCP architecture. Now, why MCP? We are creating all this, kind of an agent which connects, like for example, even in RAG kind of applications, we are already doing it. But what MCP does, MCP standardizes the prompts and the tool. It will give you a reusable MCP server where you can build once and use everywhere. It will centralize your authentication. It provides one protocol for client server architecture. This is you miss without MCP. There's nothing like you cannot do something without MCP, but this is what MCP comes. As I said, it's at a high level, I will say, MCP was supposed to not to be a protocol, but because it standardizes and it provides you reusable MCP servers. These days everybody, you will see a lot of MCP servers getting developed, and provides a standard way of communicating. You can build ones and use it with various AI applications or agent. This is why MCP is getting so famous, or so it's getting so it's being adopted quite a lot. Okay, now coming to a little advanced, because it is doing a lot of things here. We just say, hey, go and update the address. But okay, who is asking me to update? And like, if you have seen the traditional applications, API used to have an API gateway, which was more a policy enforcement point, which used to interact with an identity and access manager, try to get some claims, and there was a lot of things around API traditional development. Now here you are saying to just do it. So this is advanced. This is coming up as we speak today. AI gateway is more around LLM models and monitoring governance. But I expect that MCP server, being like maybe a proxy, comes into AI gateway as well. And also, with traditional APIs, normally we will not have an API which just you call and it's synchronous and it does an update and it sends you back. We at between in an API traditional development, for any write or update kind of operation, we will bring a reliable message broker where it accepts the request, and it's guaranteed and delivered, like it will be done over asynchronously. So probably, we may not have, and we do not want to have an MCP server which directly executes a SQL. Probably it creates a JSON, canonical probably, and sends it to the message broker, and your traditional integration layer or messaging layer can still be reused. So at the end, what has happened, it has done all your natural language processing and still able to, your MCP server is still able to create a canonical JSON which it can publish to a topic or a queue and or an exchange to a queue, whatever message broker you choose, and it should be still be able to do a reliable processing in an asynchronous way, which is in the heart of an enterprise architecture. So there are a lot of things that needs to still be discovered, but the at the like the traditional response address updated successfully, we would expect that address update request accepted and we are processing. You know, so there are lots of benefit around that. It's reliable, scalable, all those. It's a decouple, loosely coupled kind of solution. Then, because if you see the transport layer of MCP itself, what we have. Suppose you want to run MCP locally today. You can use standard input output. If you want to run MCP as a remote server with stateful, you have one option of HTTP with server send event. And as they include streamable HTTP, it will allow stateless and stateful connections. But still, it's all multiple things around HTTP, and where it can still go in a pub sub model, which is at the heart of any enterprise, and hopefully that will become something where we can have a an IAM and all those kind of integration with this MCP servers, and it will grow. So this is somewhere there are a lot of discussions going on, and as we speak, we are still early, but understanding this architecture patterns now gives us a huge advantage as AI agents become more prevalent in enterprise applications. So questions to you: are you working on an AI agent that could benefit from MCP? If you are working on an AI agent, I will definitely be making my next video on ACP, A2A, the agent protocols, where even you have an ACP. Under ACP, you can call an MCP tools, and I'm working on those kinds of video. But you have any comments, you like my video, whatever, just drop a comment below. Thank you. um, do take good care of yourselves and have a good one. I see you in my next video.